You're listening to Excellence Above Talent, a podcast where we have the hard conversations about the lives of men and what leads us to achieve greatness and suffer defeat. Hear from other men's journeys as well, as we all learn and grow together to become inspirations to ourselves and those around us. And now your host, Aaron Thomas.
What's up, my beautiful people? Aaron Thomas with Excellence Above Talent. I wanted to talk about something that has created a lot of chaos in my life. So I'm going to this marriage seminar and I'm learning just better ways to be a man, better ways to be a husband. Shout out to Pat Brown for sending me the invitation. It's at Crossroads. It's a 6 weeks marriage seminar, and they were talking about sex this week, sex. And one thing that God pressed upon me when hearing the pastor talk was intimacy. True intimacy protects self-esteem, and that hit me. Because most of my life and most of my relationships, not even most, in all of my relationships, there was no protection of self-esteem. The meaning of self-esteem is a realistic respect for or favorable impression of oneself, self-respect. And there wasn't a lot of respect that I had for myself. So I couldn't respect the women that were in my life at that point in time. And so I kind of just want to break down some of the things as to why I couldn't create true intimacy in my past relationships. I haven't been hiding from the fact that I have been struggling with porn since the age of 10. It's something that I never questioned. I just fell into it, and it just took over my life. And I believe that this is one thing that has stopped me from creating true intimacy in any relationship that I've ever been in. Because porn doesn't create intimacy. It creates addiction. It creates a thirst that can't be filled by anyone that's in your life, by any female that's in your life. She'll never be able to quench that thirst of pornography. You have all these expectations and you have all the things that you want her to do, and she simply isn't built for that. And so you find yourself getting upset and angry because you're trying to do all the things that you're seeing in the videos that you're watching. And it creates this lust that you have for women that is unhealthy. My opinion, it is unhealthy for guys to objectify women, because if I can objectify you, that makes you not human. You are a piece of property, something that, someone wants to tap. I tap that. It has nothing to do with, her essence as a woman. It's, look at her body looks amazing. I want to hit that up. And so it creates this negative narrative. And then when you do tap it, you're not really looking to create emotional relationship. You're looking to have fun. You're looking to be pleased in every way possible. But you're not looking to create and cultivate a relationship that is built on trust and love and intimacy, because you don't care about her feelings, because she's not a her to you. She's an object. And because she's an object, you'll do and say whatever you want to. You don't have any empathy for her feelings or what she's going through. And a lot of men will run around and say, well, we were meant to sow our seeds in. We're men. This is what men do. And for a long time, never questioned, oh, okay, this is what men do. Hell, I've even said it multiple. I'm a man. This is what I do. This is what I need. I made excuses for. And that's a bogus excuse. You objectify women because you're a man? That makes you weak. That makes you weak. So you're telling me that you can't pull yourself back and look at a woman in all of her beauty. All you do is look at her because she has a nice body. And because she has a nice body, that's the only reason why you want to talk to her. And then if you ever get with her, there is no way to move forward because in your mind, all you wanted was her body. So you can say it's biology. You can run around here and say you can't help yourself, but you can. It's not biology. It's just the way that you're living. Other reasons why men say they objectify women are because they just want to have sex. And because they want to have sex, they look at women and they lust over them because I'm horny. So these are all things that you can control as a man. Like as a man, you can control, even if you are horny, what you do with that horniness. Even if, because I'm a guy, you have control over what your thoughts are or how you perceive things or how you move forward in life. Because a woman gets dressed up and she wants to feel sexy and she might have a crop top on and she might have her boobs out with short shorts, that's for her. And even if she is looking for attention, it's not up to you to be like that creeper in the back, staring, not making any approach to talk to her. You're just in the back staring uncontrollably because you're a guy or because you're horny. Me talking about it now, it sounds weak. It sounds like you have to find ways to control yourself as a man when it comes to objectifying women. And I'll tell you that no one ever really questioned my objectification of women until I started working at the Crisis Center in 2017. So 5 years ago is when I started to understand how creepy and wrong it was to objectify women. How objectifying women is also, in my opinion, a major cause of domestic violence in our society today. If I'm able to not view you as a human being, if I'm able to not view you as a woman, you're a verb, you're not a noun. Well, if you're not doing what I'm asking you to do, then I'm able to lash out. I'm able to show power, to create fear in order for you to do what it is that I want you to do. And my marriage suffered because I was trying to create an imbalance of power. In my head, I needed sex. And if I didn't get it, I would act a fool. I would throw temper tantrums, slam the door, squirm in bed, stomp up and down the floor, stonewall. Stonewalling is when she's asking a question, I'm not saying anything. I'm just letting her sit in the question that she asked me because I'm upset that I didn't get what I want. Looking back, that was the weakest I have ever been as a man, ever. Men of high value don't force anything because they know what they can and cannot control. Little boys try to force things. Little boys want their way, and if they don't get their way, they act up like little boys. High value men trust the process. They don't force anything. They control their urges. They control themselves. Looking back, man, I was such a little boy. I was such a weak man because of porn, because of me objectifying women. And don't get it twisted. I'm not blaming porn. I'm not that guy. What I'm saying is porn is something that creates an appetite that cannot be filled. And then from that porn watching, you start to objectify women and not really care about their feelings and what it is that they need. And it also doesn't build self-esteem. And the whole purpose of this was to talk about true intimacy protects self-esteem. And so because I wasn't protecting myself, I couldn't protect anyone that I was in relationships with. And so there was never true intimacy in those relationships because I was looking for something that they couldn't give me. So I want to break down what intimacy means. It's an act or expression of serving as a token of affection, a close association with, detailed knowledge or deep understanding of a place, a subject, a period, a person, state of being intimate. And so I never got to understand my person because I was so full of myself. in this process. And no one questioned it because everyone thinks it's okay, especially in a men circle. We all think it's okay. So no one questions how weak it really makes us, how weak it makes us look. We just think that because no one has challenged us to this point, that it's okay. So from the age of 10 to 30, so 20 years, I never questioned my objectification of women. I never challenged anyone as to why they couldn't look at someone that's beautiful from the opposite sex, say she's beautiful, and then move on. Unless you are going to go talk to her, then you go and you talk to her. But gawking, thinking about what you would do to that or what you would do to her was never challenged. And I'm in schools talking to young men, and they're growing up and they're doing the exact same thing to have as many women as possible, looking at girls because they think they're pretty or beautiful or have a nice body, and then talking to their boys about her, not having the balls to go and talk to her one on one because of fear of rejection. So we'll sit back and look at somebody and talk about what you would do to that person because you're afraid of being rejected. These young kids are already watching porn. They know porn stars' names. They're already telling me the things that they say they do, and dudes lie a lot, especially with sex. We all say we've had sex by the age of 13 or 14. These dudes I kiss girls, I do this, and I'm trying to have these conversations with them because I know the life it's going to lead is only frustration and pain for themselves and also for the women that are in their life. So yeah, 20 years. I was never questioned. It was never questioned. Started working at the crisis center. Started learning about, oh snaps, women are human, which is so crazy because I knew they were human. But over time, you don't forget, but you become desensitized to their needs and their wants and their feelings because you assume they are there for your enjoyment, for your pleasure. And so learning about the things that women go through on a daily basis, learning about how destructive can be in the family setting, that is when my mindset started to change. And I'm not saying it changed overnight, but it started to change. I started to see how destructive objectifying women. One was nature. I thought because I was horny and I felt like I needed it. And in my marriage, there was a lot of control. I made it not fun. And I'm not sure if there are guys out there that are putting conditions on how many times they need to have sex a week. But that's unnecessary pressure that you're putting on yourself and your spouse to show up for each other without even having a conversation as to how that person is feeling in that time and space. Maybe she's not feeling good about herself that week, but she still has to feel like she's forced to show up because she knows if you don't get what it is that you need, you're going to throw a temper tantrum. Her needs aren't the ones that you care about most in this process of trying to have sex. It's yours. And so you don't even question or ask how she's feeling in those moments. You just expect. And women show up. They show up even when they don't want to. So if you have someone in your life that shows up constantly for you, fellas, learn to appreciate that. Learn to appreciate her because she's doing a lot to maintain the family and keep you happy. Don't lose sight of that. Nurture is another reason why I objectified women. It's the culture of manhood. We bond around it. And that is why I want to start having deeper, more meaningful conversations with men. Not about sex and women and sports, but about how you feel in this life. What's going on with you? What are some things that you're struggling with? Men don't talk about that a lot. Most men don't. If we show up together, we're looking at sports, we're talking about our past conquests, or looking at women, talking about what we would do to them. And no one's having that conversation of like, how productive is this really? As a high value man, I'm looking for ways to be productive. If I can't have a productive conversation, what's the point of having a conversation? Where are we going to go with this conversation? How is sports going to help me live my best life? I get it. There are some times where you have to decompress and have those conversations about sports But it doesn't have to be about women and past conquest and the things you're looking at whenever you're looking at women. And again, I feel like because we don't talk about it, it's something that is unconscious. We make it seem like this is okay, that is right of the things that we're doing when it comes to objectifying women, and it's not. Another reason why I objectified women, and this was one of the biggest reasons of why I objectified women, was pain avoidance. I was trying to fill a hole inside of me. And I thought the more women I slept with, the hole would be filled. And it's crazy because my relationship with God affected how I viewed women. So when I had a strong relationship with God, how I viewed women wasn't in a negative capacity because my hole was filled with his presence and his love. But then when I felt like could do it on my own and by myself, I took him out of that hole that made me whole as a person, and I tried to fill it with sex and porn, and it made me sadder. I had more anxiety. I was more anxious. I worried more. I was depressed because I'm searching for something that I felt like I needed to find. And you're never going to find it in pornography. You're never going to find it with women. You're simply not. My higher power is Jesus. And the hole that is in my heart that I felt in my body, there's only one person that can fill it. And the crazy thing about it is I know it. But sometimes in life, you get big headed and you think you know it all. And you replace yourself with God, and we make horrible gods. I make a horrible God because you create this atmosphere. You create all this chaos around you. And you're looking to everyone like, dude, what the hell is going on? But when you look in the mirror, you know, bro, you're the one that's creating this atmosphere. You're the one that's creating this chaos that's in your life right now. And if you take a step back and put God back in it, it goes away, albeit slowly, because when God shows up, the things that you had done doesn't just disappear. You have to now go back and apologize and put in deposits of love and affirmation to the people that you hurt because you try to replace yourself with the Almighty God, the God that is limitless, that can do all things. You try to replace yourself with that God, and you are limited, and you can't do all things, and you're not almighty. In those moments, you feel that way, but after a while, it'll hit you, and you'll realize, like, man, I suck at being a God. And the crazy part is, I know I suck, but I keep trying. I keep trying. So another reason why I'm glad that I, started at the Crisis Center and I was able to learn about all these negative things that no one questioned or things that were taught in manhood was trying to fill that void, trying to fill that hole with sex and porn. And those are things that it won't work. Trust me, I've tried. 20 plus years I've tried off and on to fill holes and to feel alive. And it just simply isn't the route to go. And so because of learning from the Crisis Center, learning about, reasons why I was objectifying women, it still took me a while to grasp the concept. And I'm still not there. So don't get it twisted. I'm not this perfect guy running around here telling other guys what they shouldn't do and not saying like I still deal with it. I still deal with pornography. It's not something that I'm dealing with at a higher level than I was before, but it's still something that I deal with. I still deal with objectifying women. But now I have that conversation with myself. I don't just allow those thoughts to creep into my mind and just stay there. When I feel it, I start to question myself. Hey, boss, what are you doing? Where is this taking you? How is this going to be productive for you in your life moving forward? How is this making you a better man? And if it's not, why are you doing it? So understand, I'm in this journey. I'm in this process. I'm trying to figure it out. But I know because I'm trying to figure it out, I'm becoming better as a person. I'm becoming better as a man because My ultimate goal is to make sure my nephews and the young boys that have been gifted me, or the young boys that I've been gifted to be in their lives, I want to show them different ways to be a man. Because the ways that I was taught, the ways that I learned, only created more chaos, pain, trauma, and drama. And if that's in your life as a young man or a man in general, how can you be your best self? And because that's in your life, sometimes you run to things that create more of it. So there's chaos and there's pain and there's drama and trauma in your life, and you're running towards porn, or you're running towards sex, or you're objectifying women, hoping that that'll take away or alleviate some of that pressure that you feel. And it doesn't. It only adds to it. And I truly want to, in this process of helping myself, help others not go down this path, because it's deadly. It's a gateway to other things that you run to: drugs, alcohol, gambling, and you start to spiral out of control. So at the end of the day, I am blessed to be able to have worked at the Crisis Center of West Texas. I was able to see all the damage that men could do in the relationship with their family. And I taught a class for 4 years for men who were abusive. And sex was a big issue. It was a big issue. And a lot of times the men in the class knew that that woman wasn't for him, but he stayed because of sex. He stayed because she had a banging body. He stayed because she was giving him what he needed. And he didn't want to go out there and work to learn about somebody else. So he stayed. He didn't like the person. He didn't like the woman for who she was, or he didn't know the woman for who she was. She just gave him what he thought he needed, which was sex. And because she gave him that, he stayed. And you can only fake it for so long before you start to, the chink in your armor start to crack, and you start calling her names. Because again, you don't view her as a human being, you view her as an object, a that, an it. So I can call that person a name, I can call it a name. She's crazy, she's dumb, she's a bitch. And then once you start to call her names, the floodgate opens for all types of abusive behaviors. If I value you as a human being, I will not call you names. But once I start to call you names, I am devaluing you as a human being. And if I don't value you as a human being, I will say and do whatever I feel like, because you're an object and you're not a real person. And this is just Aaron's opinion, stats, but there's a correlation with objectifying women and abuse. If I can strangle you as a man, if I can put my hands on you as a man, if I can force myself on you as a man, then I don't view you as a human. And the last one is a heavy one that no one wants to talk about. And I feel that men force themselves on women way more often than we assume. So, scenario: if a woman's in a bar and she's drunk, and a man's in a bar and he's drunk, and he sees her, they talk for a little bit, but she's not feeling him, but they go outside and the man forces himself on her, makes her have sex with him, we would call that rape. In a relationship, if a man forces his woman to have sex with him by throwing a temper tantrum, by slamming doors and acting a fool and creating fear, we call that sex. And it's BS. Consent wasn't given in both occasions. She never said yes. She was forced to do something that she didn't want to do because a man couldn't control himself. It's rape. That's what you call it in a relationship. When a man forces his wife, his girlfriend, his spouse to have sex when she doesn't want to, because he feels like he needs it at that point in time. And because she doesn't want to create any issues, gives in. It's not sex, fellas. That's rape. It took me a long time to grasp that, because I didn't want to as a man. I'm not a rapist. I would never do that. This is why doing the work sucks. Learning about yourself, learning about what things truly are. It's not fun because then you get to see yourself as the monster that you are. But there's beauty in seeing yourself as the monster. You get to work on yourself. You get to make yourself better. You get to have conversations like these, help others who are dealing with it or talking about it. A high value man, a man who truly loves his wife, his spouse, his girlfriend, it's someone who is going to take the time to create intimacy in that relationship. Someone who's going to take the time to build himself up so that in that relationship, his spouse is protected. He cares about her feelings. He cares about her emotions. He's just not thinking about himself. And I'm going to say this. Well, I'm on it today. And I'm done rambling. You know what I mean? Not even rambling. I'm done off my soapbox. Women should, I don't know the scientific word for it, and I'm not even going to look it up because that's not how I would talk. Women should come just as much as men. That's why I say we as men aren't really taking the time to care, to cultivate, and create in the relationship. There's a stat, and I'm going to give men more credit than they deserve, but it's 60-40. 60 to 70% of women do not have orgasms. There it is. There's a sign. They don't have orgasms when having intercourse with a heterosexual, a male. Men orgasm 95 to 99% of the time when having sex with a woman. High value men will take the time to make sure that the woman in his life is taken care of, not just spiritually and financially and emotionally, but also sexually. And because you're taking care of her, that means you're viewing her as a human being. You're viewing her as a person. You're viewing her as someone that you care and love for. She's not just this person who you have sex with to fill your needs, to get your needs met, and then you roll over and fall asleep. That's not why she is there. And most of my life, that's what I did. I didn't care about her needs and if she was getting hers. You better get yours before I get mine. I remember talking to it with God, laughing about it. We have to do better as men. It's a must in order to create a world that is better for this next generation of young boys coming up. We have to start questioning why we do the things we do and not just do it because that's what we've always done our whole entire lives. Doesn't make any dang sense. So if anyone hasn't told you that they love you today, let me be the first to say I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. You deserve the best that this world has to offer. Do not give up. Do not quit because the world doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. I love y'all. Y'all have a good bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And for daily, motivational, and up-to-date content, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Excellence Above Talent. And remember, keep moving forward, never give up, and you are never alone in this battle. We'll see you next time.